welcome to the newest CRO in the space, right? Luke McGinnis.
Yep.
So, Luke, congratulations.
Twice in 1 year, baby.
Twice in 1 year. I don't think you're going for 3 rings on this one, right?
No. I landed in a good spot.
Yeah. No, we're all super happy for you, man. And you're going to do big things at Trellis. So, talk to me about, why Trellis? What made you kind of, go into a little bit more about your background and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so my background is I'm 11 years in the space. Spent 5 years at Amazon on their sponsored products team. I was one of the founding AEs when they built out that sponsored products team. And when we were creating that team, Amazon advertising revenue wasn't even at $1 billion yet. And so when I left, it was a couple billion. And after 5 years of doing that, I met someone at PickFu called Melissa Burdick, and she created PickFu with Jiao Wei, and they wanted me to come over there, and I was like employee 7. And then I worked with PickFu for 5 years as well. And what PickFu does is advertising technology with Amazon.
See PickFu everywhere, and I know PickFu from, when did they acquire Helium 10?
So how that worked out was there was a company called Assembly, and Assembly acquired Helium 10.
Okay.
So Assembly acquired Helium 10 before PickFu was ever involved. Then Assembly acquired PickFu. And PickFu and Helium 10 worked really well together, so Assembly decided after their 9 acquisitions to cut 7 of those acquisitions off and only keep PickFu and Helium 10. And then they changed the whole name of everything to all PickFu. Helium 10 is still called Helium 10, but it's Helium 10 powered by PickFu. Mm-hmm. So Assembly was the company that bought them first, then they bought PickFu, then they changed their name to PickFu. So
that's not confusing at all.
No, not at all, right? Yeah, acquisitions are a story as old as time.
Yeah.
You build something great, someone acquires you, and then it's now theirs, right?
Yeah.
So they're allowed to do whatever.
So you're at PickFu.
Yep. Living life,
doing
doing good. Went through that acquisition, and then after that, it was kind of, I'm a 1 million to 100 million guy, right? That's my startup. That's the revenue where my sweet spot is. I can help a company get from 1 million to 100 million. I've done it twice done 3 times in my career now, and I'm hoping to do it a 4th with Trellis. After 100 million in revenue, it's a little bit out of my scope because you're either going to go IPO or a second liquidity event, and it comes down to you're not really growing anymore. You're kind of there's a lot of bloat at the organization, so it's just not my sweet spot. It's the red tape and bureaucracy. It's you get culture committees and HR and 19 CFOs and all that stuff. It's just
19 CFOs. Imagine that.
I mean, it's once you get past 100 million, it's just out of my scope. It's not fun anymore for me. And so, what attracted me to Trellis was it really reminds me of PickFu in the early days. Great product. Except for their product has a caveat to it that I'm really, really intrigued by. It's the fact that they pair their ad tech with the dynamic pricing. And pairing those two together is a game changer in the space because, yes, we have competitors with the dynamic pricing. Yes, we have competitors with ad tech. But there's no competitors that do both. And so they've spent 5 years building this product out. They've done it well. But the way their founding team is, their founders are very technical. They're all based in Canada. They built this great product, but the Canadian culture is very humble, right? They don't beat their chest. Look what we built, look what we built. And so I think that's where I come in, and I'm really excited to be here because they built a great product. It's just no one knows about it. And so my goal 1 is to get, spread the word as much as possible about it. Kind of like you just said, you saw PickFu everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Well, 3 years ago, that wasn't true, right? PickFu was nowhere 3 years ago, right? We, the players in the space were like the Skies and Takeometrics and Flywheels and Perpetua and stuff like that. But with the approach that I helped implement at PickFu with our founders and team was to get their name out there, be thought leaders, be educational, give value away constantly, and then the people will trust you and come, and that's what happens. So that's kind of what my strategy is at Trellis now.
So, a couple rumors going around the rumor mill about you. I don't know if you know that.
Ooh.
Yeah, do you know?
I don't know.
Two things that are floating. I just want to kind of put to rest if that's true. One is that you're looking to petition Trellis to rebrand. Is that?
I am a little bit. Not necessarily petition to rebrand, but I think the problem with Trellis, and we just saw this today at the show, someone walked up and goes, "Oh, we know Trellis. We work with you guys. We're a partner." Well, Trellis is also an agency in like the Shopify space or something like that. And so we're all confused sitting there. And also if you type in trellis.com, I mean, there's hundreds of different Trellis names.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily think I want to rebrand personally. I think I just want to add the Go Trellis to it, right? The Go before it, right? Because our website is gotrellis.com. So if you just say, hey, Go Trellis, instead of we're just Trellis, we're Go Trellis, right? Yeah. I think that will help with our SEO. I think that will help with our branding. I think that'll help people understand who we are. It's our website anyways. It'll help drive traffic. But when we say we're Trellis and someone goes to type in www.trellis.com, they're not going to find us. But if we constantly say, hey, we're with Go Trellis, we're with Go Trellis, Go Trellis, Go Trellis, they're going to find us very easily because there's not any other Go Trellises out there. But even in our own space that we just ran into today, there's another Trellis agency out there.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. It happened in the coffee line today. And it was uncomfortable a little bit because they're like, oh, we're already your partner. And we're like, nah, you're not.
I was totally baiting you, by the way. That wasn't a rumor that I heard because I thought that you were actually going to go and name it Helium 11. I just wanted to see it. I wasn't sure if that was true or not.
I would have probably went with Helium 12 because I'm from Seattle, we got to represent the 12s for the Seahawks.
Well, that was the other rumor that was going around the mill that I want to see if we can kind of put.
Was this going to be a real rumor or one of your fake ones like last one?
No, this is a really fake one.
A real fake one?
So, is it true that they're trying to take away your American citizenship?
They are. They're trying to get me up there. They are.
Put you in Canada?
Yeah. I keep making up rumors on why I can't go. Well, my passport's been expired, or I got a reckless driving ticket, so Canada won't let me in. But they're trying to get me up there. And I know once I get up there, they're going to kidnap me. But, who wants to go to Ottawa,
They're trying to give you that hockey stick and maple syrup down the throat, right?
They are, man. Yeah. It's you've heard of waterboarding. They call it maple boarding up there.
That's rough. That sounds delicious and horrible at the same time.
It is good.
I know you're building out the team, and I know you come from, building out AEs and stuff like that. And what's that like coming into an org that really doesn't have? Again, I don't know if they have one or not, but not a fully baked out, hard hitting, hunting kind of team.
Yeah, and I think Trellis has done something pretty remarkable to be able to be where they're at today with getting the inbound leads that they've gotten. I mean, to get over $2 million in revenue and on inbounds without really having that outbound function has been really, really impressive. I do fully believe, though, that the biggest growth opportunity at Trellis right now is creating that hunter type role and creating an outbound team because you need a groundswell. We got to tell everyone about us, right? Their biggest weakness is no one knows about them. And the best way to get people to know about you is, you got a marketing approach, you got an educational approach, but you also need AEs, boots on the ground, calling people, telling them about them, and just bragging about the software. The more people we show, the more people that tell their friend about it. Even if someone doesn't buy it, they're like, oh, I saw this cool software the other day. It's from Trellis. Even if someone isn't buying from you, they're still most likely going to tell someone about it. And the one cool thing, and this is very similar to PickFu actually when I was there too, was anytime I've shown someone a demo of Trellis or been on a demo of Trellis, nobody has ever left that demo client-wise or prospect-wise and been annoyed. They've been like, oh, this is great. We might not be able to buy now due to budget or timing or contracts or whatever, but every person that's seen it
they're impressed.
They're like, dude, this is cool. I can see how this works.
Yeah.
And I think in sales, that's the biggest compliment you can have, right? You're showing products to people that you're not wasting their time.
Yeah.
You're not showing them timeshares or, whatever it is. And I think that's a really, really important factor for outbound sales. The more people you talk about, the more are going to like it. And so it's a gift for a salesperson to be able to do that.
What's the approach? We're going to go a little bit niche down and sales tactics and stuff. I used to do sales at agencies and stuff like that. Yep. You know that. What is your typical best practice? Building out SDRs and BDRs to feed to an AE, or having the AE own the whole?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and I think it's cyclical, to be honest. I think 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, the SDR, BDR, feeding it into an AE route was the right way to do that. But I think after COVID and the game's changed a little bit. I think you need to make your AEs full cycle now. I think the AE needs to source their own leads. They need to be a product expert. They need to know. Because the buyers have changed. They don't want to get one person on the phone, then they have to set up a meeting. People want to be fed knowledge right away. I mean, it's almost like people need instant gratification. So if you get someone on the phone, and that's the problem with the BDR now, you get someone on the phone, they want to know now what's going on. They want to, they're like, all right, tell me about your product. They don't want to be, well, I'm going to set you up with a meeting. And so
that's something I've seen working at other agencies prior. is that what they would do for a BDR or an SDR. By the way, which do you prefer, BDR or SDR?
I think both have a role. I think both are. I prefer SDR. It's the same thing. I think BDR sounds a little more professional, to be honest, because
it's business.
Business
sales.
development, right? Where if you can remove, that's why everyone's called an account executive, not a sales executive, right? I think if you can
growth strategist or whatever kind of
head of growth strategy and e-commerce. Development
wizard guru of strategy and
the glue and stickiness that brings it all together. I mean, look at his role. I can't even tell you, but there's no sales in that role, right? Like there's you
don't want to put that.
So,
but like so one good tactic that I've seen, right, is the previous agency they would have a BDR not just make a phone call and try and get them on the horn, but it was an email with a Loom video showing a specific ASIN that belonged to that brand. And pointed out actionable things of where they're, not hitting and not performing. And if you want more, I can help you.
Right.
So is that something that
can be done? I would personally prefer my AEs to do that themselves.
But can they do that? So can an AE of Trellis go out there, find an ASIN, right, and run it through the software in a demo to say, hey, you're currently here, but if you do this and pull these levers, right? Or levers. How do we say them in Canada? Levers or levers? What was it?
They're not a boot.
Levers. Levers, eh? So can that be something that can be done? Like you can do that? Because I think that, and is that part of the strategy you're looking to do?
It is, absolutely. That's definitely part of the strategy that I'm looking to do. And I think Amazon selling is one of the biggest gifts because Amazon gives you a full, and never-ending lead generation platform. You can go to Amazon and type in any keyword you want, and you're going to see who's the sponsored brands, who does sponsored products. You can literally type in any keyword and find a new prospect. Like it's one of the only platforms in the world where I've seen where you can just go type in any search term or keyword and immediately get 10 prospects.
Well, here's my next thing, right? So you can do that, right? But what kind of data validation tools does Trellis use to actually get the information? Because if I go on Amazon and I see John's can openers. I don't know why I'm obsessed with talking about can openers.
Or John either.
John's can openers. Well, John's can openers, right? It's listen, this is my video.
Okay.
John's can openers. You don't get my address per se. You definitely don't get my contact information in my email, right? So what tools are you going to use to empower your AEs to actually get that information? Is it like a Hunt.io?
Well, there's a couple tools actually. So we use Smart Scout for a lot of that data stuff.
I've heard of Smart Scout.
Yeah, they're pretty smart. I like to scout them. And then on top of that, we also use data like tools like Zoom Info, Apollo.
A lot of people using Apollo.
Yeah. Apollo's awesome. I mean, we just did a cold call training with them the other day, and I think they're top tier. I think they're doing some really good things over there.
Yeah.
But like finding that information on Amazon about who's selling and who's advertising and who's using sponsored products, who has a sponsor brand banner, and then taking that information and putting it through like Apollo to get their information. It's pretty easy to get, seller's email address or, cell phone. Now, people don't necessarily like to be cold called, but I think cold calling is one of the most valuable tools that will never go out of style.
I agree.
You can go on LinkedIn, you'll see 5 gurus saying cold calling is dead. You'll see 5 other gurus saying cold calling is never going to die. And so
cold calling, here's the thing why I believe in cold calling, not as a standalone, but in unison or in tandem, because you're going to get the CEO or the CFO or the CMO, whoever you're targeting. They don't answer emails. They're not going to look at it, or they go to their assistant, or
they don't, because my buddy, he's a VP of sales, and me and him we were just talking the other day. He told me in 1 week he got 400 prospecting emails, 400 emails,
400 spam messages. That's where that's going.
He got 2 cold calls. 2 cold calls, 400 emails. Which ones? I mean, that's the fastest way to cut through the noise right there. Everyone's so scared to cold call anymore because no one wants to be feared with rejection. And we had it really good the last 4 or 5 years with, as much as COVID hurt the country, hurt us, it also helped SaaS sales. Everything was streamlined. Zoom Info's stock went crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, cold calling will never die, in my opinion. It's the fastest way to cut through the noise. You get someone on that phone. You do need a quick, 15-second, 30-second pitch to get them on the phone. Once you get them, you gotta be dialed in. But I'd rather, if I'm dealing with 400 competitors or 2, which one I'm going to choose?
Two
every time, right?
So, in your experience, like with PickFu and wherever else, like, what's best practice for cold calling? Like, do you use AI? Do you use software to kind of pepper in like auto dialers?
I think you can use auto dialers to make it more efficient. I think AI helps with your messaging. I think with cold calling though, I think the best approach is just being completely honest. Hey John, this is Luke McGinnis. This is a cold call. I know I caught you off guard. I hate cold calls myself.
No,
I mean, that will happen.
Yeah.
But a lot of people will say, all right, go, give me your best, right?
Yeah.
Like as long as you're honest with them right away, because I don't know if you're a bill collector or, you know, trying to catch up on my child support or whatever you're coming at me for. But if you're just honest and hey, this is a cold call about XYZ, do you have 15 seconds to hear about how it can help you or not? Most of the time, people are going to say, all right, 15 seconds, go. Or they're just going to say, hey, not right now, call me back, or whatever it is.
It's just respecting the person's time.
But I'm being honest with you. I'm calling you. I'm being vulnerable. I'm telling you exactly why I'm calling you. Can I have just 15 seconds to give you this quick elevator pitch on why we can help you?
Yeah.
If it doesn't help you, I won't call you again. Tell me to buzz off, and I'm done.
Yeah.
But if it does help you, we can set up a call to have more information.
Do you follow Josh Braun?
I do know Josh Braun. Yep.
Josh Braun. He always wears the hat that says detach.
I do know him. Yep.
So detach is talking about having like commission breath and like all that kind of stuff where you respect the person's time and you're like, hey, and it's like poke the bear.
Right.
That's what he talks about, poking the bear, where you're just like, you're not saying, here's the problem. I just did what I don't want people doing is slapping.
As you do it.
Here's the problem. Here's the solution. People don't like that. People don't like being told what to do. When you ask them, hey, I see that you're doing this. Mm-hmm. Have you ever explored this?
Yes.
Or have you ever thought of doing this? Is like invoking like a kind of moment where they're interested, right?
That's why I think being an industry expert is so valuable for AEs. You need to know your clients, you know the industry, you know your prospects, you know everything inside out. Like that's where I think the SDR function really fails is you just have people cold calling, blasting, they don't know anything about the industry. And so
just to get the meeting.
You do get the meeting. You get someone on the call though, and you're almost going to burn that bridge before you can even book the meeting because you can't speak knowledgeably to a lot of people. If they're like, all right, tell me right now, you got my time, you got my attention.
They'll be like, oh, I don't know anything about this
I
product.
can't tell you. I just want to book a meeting, and then you've lost them right there because that's why I think being a full cycle. Now, don't get me wrong, I do think there is a very valid function for an outbound BDR, SDR, but they got to be more knowledgeable. It can't just be like the old days where you're spraying and praying, you're setting up a sales enablement tool like Sales Offer Outreach, and you're just blast. Like, be personable. You know, when you do this generic messaging over and over, you're hurting yourself more than you're helping yourself because you're burning all those 1,000 prospects. They're seeing your name and they're hating it, right? They're like, I don't want to talk to you. Yeah, well, I've gotten all your emails. But if you really take the time to understand your prospects, understand their needs, understand what their pain points are, and try to personalize that within your messaging, at least shows them you care. At least shows them you've taken time. You're not just spraying and praying and you're like making up some random.
Otherwise, they're going to hang up. They're going to hang up. They don't want to deal with it. And time is the one thing you can't purchase. Right? So if you can give people back more time to either make more money or whatever it is, time is the one asset people value the most out of everything besides money. Right?
Agreed.
So what's the plan? Like, where are you looking to be? Q3, Q4? Are you hiring actively for more?
Yeah. So I mean, we're definitely hiring. My first 2 roles I've hired for at Trellis so far. I've hired a head of partnerships. Her name's Cassandra Gallagher. She's amazing. She came from Mars Agency, and then our second hire was
Mars Agency. The candy?
No, Mars Candy is the candy, but the Mars Agency is the big niche agency. It's where Jack Lindbergh was.
I just want a Snickers bar now, man.
Well,
I don't even know.
Snickers isn't made by Mars, so you got to get it together, man.
Well, then their marketing needs to pick up because I thought
they
it was.
They might be. I actually don't know.
But yeah, so you're actively hiring for more? Or?
Actively hiring, yeah. So I've hired 2 so far. Brought on a new director of marketing, Caroline Powell. She worked with Jeffrey Cohn for a while.
Oh, he's here.
Yeah. Just on. She's very bright. She's helping us with our field marketing and events, and we're interviewing AEs right now. Looking to bring on an outbound BDR right now, actually, as well.
Outdoor BDR sounds better.
I get outside and knock on doors.
Walking outside, going door to door.
So we got definitely hiring. Being very meticulous about our hiring, though.
Yeah.
We're small, we're scrappy still, so you don't want to get bloat. But I think
that's my next question, and then I'll kind of let people know where they can contact and reach you. But what's your thoughts on, and I've interviewed at dozens of SaaS tools, agencies, and stuff like that for sales roles, and we've spoken about them before, even offers I've got.
Yep.
Right? So what's best practice versus, and if, right, it works with Trellis, as a salesperson, is it low base, high comp, or is it competitive high comp, less? High comp, less.
Yeah.
High base, less comp, or what's to retain good talent, right? Versus the guy that's just out of college, that's just looking to get a 30 or 40,000 plus commission thing.
I think, in my opinion, it's always been a fit. What's always worked, in my opinion, what I've done at every sales org I've helped create and comp plans, we've always done a 50-50 split, where you get a decent base, so you can make sure that your bills are paid, that you're comfortable, that you're not. Because when your base is really low and all you are is commission based, it's great, and I get the motivation there, but it also creates that commission breath. It makes people so dang desperate that they're. What I want is my A's to be comfortable. They know that they have their bills paid,
but want to make more.
But they want to make more. So the OTE is a 50-50, right? So let's say you make $100,000 salary, well then your OTE is gonna be 200.
Yeah.
Or if but the higher your base is, the higher your quota is gonna be, right? So in my opinion, I always 5x your quota. So if you're doing 200K, you're gonna have $1 million, quota, right?
Yeah.
You got to bring in, for an AE to truly be worth their salt, I think you got about either 3 to 5x their quota.
And what's the time that you think, right? Because in the agency space, right, specifically, or SaaS space, or whatever it is for account execs or AEs, what's enough time to know that they're performing before you get churned?
6 months.
So 6 months should be.
I think at 6 months you can tell the trend, right? Like you can tell if they're gonna get it or if they're not, right? And after that, after 6 months and you keep making excuses for the AE, you probably have the wrong hire. Yeah. But at 6 month mark, you should be able to see if they're proactive. Are they getting it? Can they speak to the product? Can they even do a demo on their own yet? Are they prospecting? They're bringing in their own leads? Are they
So like at 3 months, 4 months, it's too soon to even kind of.
I think 3 months you can start to a little bit see the trend, but I think you really need a full 6 months to fully understand the scope of work.
Sure.
And after that 6 month mark, if you can either tell if they have the core competencies to be effective or not. And if you don't see those, you probably gotta you just do. Now I'm all for coaching and training, but you gotta coach the people that want to be coached and that have the core competencies unveiled. If they are proactive and can go learn the product, source their own deals, build their pipeline, really trying to better themselves, they're probably gonna be successful. But if they're sitting back, wanting inbound leads only, they're probably not gonna make it.
Yeah, that's like a more. You want hunters. You want people
hunters.
to go out there.
And I want hunters from SDR to CEO. I want the CEO still prospecting. I want myself, I still prospect.
CEO of Trellis, do you hear this? If you're not on the phone dialing right now, we're going to put you on a PIP. So
Pippin ain't easy, bro.
Pippin ain't easy. But Luke, how can people reach out to you? And especially if there's AEs out there or BDRs that like what they hear, how can they reach out to you?
Absolutely. I think the best way is LinkedIn, right? Luke McGinnis, LukeMcGinnis. Look me up on LinkedIn. That's probably the best way to get a hold of me. But if not, luke@gotrellis.com is my email. PickFu is a great tool because it tells you which products to pick to sell on Amazon, which is probably the hardest thing to do. Becoming an Amazon seller is easy, but finding the right products to sell on Amazon is the hard part, and PickFu helps you solve that.
Yeah, totally.
Bang.
A/B testing, baby.
A/B.
You know ABC?
Yeah, I know that. Always be closing.
It's gone away now.
Now it's always be
ABT.
I like ABP.
Always be Pippin?
Always be PickFu.
Oh, I thought you said always be Pippin.
Always be Pippin. Yeah.
I thought,
ask my team, they know.
I thought I was going to say that.
All right, brother. It's a pleasure having me on, man.
Thanks, dude.
Yes, sir.